It was a cold, gray morning on the edge of Los Angeles. The kind of morning that bites through your jacket and reminds you that some people don't have a home to hide in. On a street corner, a boy no older than 16 sat curled up beside a gas station wall, clutching a thin blanket and a worn backpack. His name was Tyler. He had no family, no place to go, and barely enough to eat. But what he did one day, what he risked, would set off a chain of kindness that no one could have imagined. Before we dive into this incredible story, make sure to subscribe to Kindness Lights, where we share true stories that remind us the world is still full of good people. Hit that like button if you believe kindness can change lives, and tell us in the comments what kindness means to you. Tyler had been living on the streets for almost a year. He used to have a mom who worked 2 jobs and a little sister he adored, but after a car accident took their mother's life, things fell apart. His sister was taken into foster care, and Tyler, too old for most shelters and too proud to ask for help, ended up sleeping wherever he could find cover. Most days, he went unnoticed. People passed him without a glance, clutching their coffee cups and phones, pretending not to see. But Tyler never stopped watching people. He noticed things others didn't: the old man who always dropped a few coins by the vending machine, the clerk who sometimes slipped him a sandwich when the manager wasn't looking, and the group of bikers who occasionally stopped at the diner across the street. They were loud, rough-looking men with leather jackets that read Hell's Angels. To most, they looked dangerous. But Tyler knew better. He'd seen one of them, a tall, gray-bearded man named Mick, quietly give his leftovers to a stray dog. One day, around dusk, Tyler was sitting behind the gas station when he heard shouting. At first, he thought it was another fight between drunks, but when he peeked around the corner, his heart jumped. Mick, the same biker he'd seen before, was surrounded by 3 men. They weren't just yelling, they were hitting him, kicking him as he tried to defend himself. Tyler froze. Every instinct told him to stay out of it. These men were grown, strong, and mean-looking. He was just a skinny homeless kid. But then he saw blood trickling from Mick's mouth, and something inside him snapped. Without thinking, Tyler grabbed a broken bottle from the ground and ran toward the attackers, shouting, "Hey! Leave him alone!" The men turned, startled. One of them swung and hit Tyler hard across the face. He fell, but he didn't stop fighting. He kicked, he clawed, he did everything he could to distract them. Long enough for Mick to pull himself up and grab a metal pipe from the ground. The attackers fled as sirens echoed down the street. When it was over, Tyler was bruised and bleeding, barely able to stand. Mick knelt beside him, stunned. "Kid, why'd you do that?" he asked. Tyler winced. "Didn't seem right. You needed help." That night, Mick refused to leave Tyler on the street. He took him to the diner, bought him a hot meal, the first real food Tyler had eaten in days, and called a friend with a pickup truck. "You're coming with me," he said firmly. Tyler didn't know it then, but Mick was one of the most respected members of his biker chapter. The next morning, word of what had happened spread like wildfire among the Hells Angels community. A homeless teenager had taken a beating to save one of their own. Within a week, dozens of bikers rode into the city. Then hundreds. Finally, nearly 1,000 bikers showed up at the gas station where Tyler had been living. They brought food, clothes, sleeping bags, and one more thing, a message. Mick stood in front of the crowd, one hand on Tyler's shoulder. His voice was rough but full of emotion. "This kid here," he said, "risked his life for a stranger. Nobody asked him to. He just saw someone in trouble and acted. That's real courage. That's real brotherhood. And if the world had more of that, maybe it'd be a better place." The bikers cheered, engines roaring like thunder. Tyler couldn't hold back his tears. For the first time in years, he felt seen, not as a problem, not as a burden, but as a person who mattered. That day changed everything. The Hells Angels decided to raise money to help Tyler get back on his feet. They organized charity rides across the state, selling shirts that said kindness is stronger than fear. Within months, they raised enough to get Tyler into a small apartment and enroll him in community college. But they didn't stop there. The movement spread. Other biker groups joined in, inspired by the story of the homeless kid who stood up for one of their own. Across the country, they began doing kindness rides, events where bikers would deliver food to shelters, repair homes for veterans, and raise money for homeless youth. Tyler, now 18, started speaking at those events. He wasn't the scared boy behind a gas station anymore. He was a young man with a story that touched thousands of hearts. He always ended his talks the same way. Kindness isn't about what you have. It's about what you give when you've got nothing left. I didn't save Mick because I wanted something back. I did it because, for once, I could do something that mattered. And you can too. Years later, Mick and Tyler remained as close as family. Tyler went on to start a nonprofit helping homeless teens find shelter and education. And every year, on the anniversary of that night, 1,000 bikers still ride in his honor, engines rumbling, hearts open. They call it the Ride for Kindness. When people ask Mick why he does it, he always smiles and says, because one kid reminded us that even when life's rough, kindness still rides with us. In a world that can feel divided and cold, stories like this remind us of what really matters. It's not how tough you look or how much you own, it's how you show up for others when it counts. Tyler didn't have a home, but he had a heart full of courage. And his kindness lit a fire that's still burning today. So if you're watching this right now, take a moment to remember, one act of kindness can change more lives than you'll ever know. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to Kindness Lights, share it with someone who needs hope, and tell us in the comments, what's the kindest thing someone's ever done for you? Because kindness, it really does light the world.